The air shivers with heat as the sun rises over the endless savanna, its golden light falling on a small band of Australopithecus moving low through the grass. Their bodies are lean, their steps cautious, and in their hands are simple stones, sharp enough to cut, but crude enough to betray how early their journey truly is. Hunger gnaws at them. It is not just an emptiness, but a fire that drives their muscles forward, searching. Ahead, a cluster of berry bushes glimmers in the dawn, promising relief. But the air carries more than sweetness. It carries the scent of competition. A rustle breaks from the brush. A rival troop of baboons has found the same food. Teeth bared, the primates roar, and the Australopithecus hesitate. They are not yet hunters of giants, but they are not defenseless shadows either. With cries that pierce the silence, the band throws stones, their first weapons of defiance, hurling them toward the baboons. The clash is violent in its simplicity, a raw test of will. The baboons retreat snarling, but the cost is heavy. A young male is clawed and bleeding, his arm torn by sharp fangs. The band gathers around him, their faces etched with the first silent ritual of care. Fibers from nearby plants are stripped and rapt pressure applied with trembling hands. It is not mastery of medicine, but it is the spark of healing, a fragile shield against death. Yet the struggle for food is far from over. The berries are few, not enough to feed all. As their stomachs still twist with emptiness, their eyes turn to the riverbank, shimmering in the distance, where fish leap and reeds whisper secrets of hidden roots. Driven by instinct, they move again, their steps cautious, their senses sharpened. But survival never comes without risk. The river carries promise, but it also carries death. Crocodiles lurk beneath the surface, unseen shadows in the water. Thunder rumbles in the distance, a storm rolling across the plains, bringing with it both terror and opportunity. Lightning splits the sky, illuminating the horizon where tall grasses sway violently. The band presses forward, their bodies drenched by sudden rain, their world transformed into mud and thunder. They huddle near the riverbank, desperate yet wary, watching the water churn. A flash of movement, fish trapped in shallow pools as the river overflows. This is chance fleeting and dangerous. The band wades in using sharpened sticks to thrust awkward but determined, spearing, wriggling bodies from the flood. The storm becomes both enemy and ally chaos that feeds them. As they gnaw the raw flesh beneath the storm's roar, their eyes reflect something beyond hunger. Survival, as myth, survival as destiny. But the storm has driven more than fish into chaos. A distant roar cuts through the thunder, the cry of a lioness drawn to the scent of blood and weakness. The band freezes, their hands tightening around stones and sticks, their breath vanishing into silence. The storm is not the only predator they must endure. The savanna itself has become a crucible, and in this crucible, their survival diet is carved not just from plants or prey, but from the endless struggle between life and death. The lioness emerges through the tall grass, her golden body drenched and rippling with power, eyes fixed on the trembling band. For the Australopithecus, this moment is the edge of extinction, a test written into the very bones of their existence. They cannot match her strength, but survival is not built on strength alone. The band gathers, pressing close, raising stones and sticks. Their cries rise above the storm, not words but raw sound. An instinctive wall of noise meant to confuse, to appear larger than they are. Lightning flashes again, and in that blinding instant one of the elders hurls a heavy rock with both hands. It strikes the ground near the lioness, startling her. She hesitates, torn between hunger and caution. That hesitation is their lifeline. The band surges forward with noise and motion, not attacking, but pushing her spirit back, with the strange defiance of weak creatures refusing to be prey. Finally, the lioness retreats, vanishing into the storm, leaving behind silence, broken only by pounding rain and trembling breaths. But survival has its price. The wounded young male grows weaker, his bandaged arm throbbing as infection threatens. The band must move, for predators will circle the injured like vultures over carrion. They leave the river carrying what fish they can and push into a cluster of rocky outcrops. Here in shallow caves, they find shelter from the storm. Fires are not yet theirs to command, but dry leaves and grasses are piled, offering comfort against the cold ground. The band shares food in silence, each mouthful raw and bloody, yet each bite a triumph carved from danger. Their eyes glimmer in the half-dark, and in this moment, the act of eating together becomes more than survival. It becomes ritual, the first shadows of culture. But the savanna is never still. At dawn, the storm passes, and with it comes the sound of movement, not their own. Another group of Australopithecus approaches, drawn by the smell of fish. They are not kin. They are rivals' faces, set in suspicion bodies, tense with hunger. Two bands stand across from each other, their prize lying between them, the meager remains of a survival feast. The air thickens with tension, hands clutching stones, eyes darting with calculation. The clash is inevitable. A rival male steps forward, snarling, his chest puffed in challenge. The wounded youth behind them whimpers a reminder of fragility. Yet here is where the fragile species learns the first lesson of power unity. The band closes, ranks females and males together, shoulders tight, forming a wall of bodies. They raise their tools, scream in rhythm, stomping the earth in unison. It is not violence yet, but it is theater, an illusion of strength that confuses and intimidates. The rival group falters, uncertain if the fight is worth the risk. At last, they retreat, fading into the grass, leaving behind silence and the stench of fear. Victory comes not from bloodshed, but from the shared roar of survival. In that roar lies the seed of something greater, the power of the group over the individual, the spark that will one day grow into tribes, into societies, into the beating heart of humanity itself. The sun rises higher, drying the earth and painting the savanna in harsh gold. The band emerges from the caves, their bodies leaner, but their steps steadier, carrying with them the scars of storm predator and rival. Hunger still presses at their bellies, but now there is something else. A rhythm of resilience, a memory of survival etched into their bones. They move toward the forest edge, where tall trees cast shadows over hidden fruits and roots. Some climb their limbs strong and nimble, reaching for figs swelling with sweetness. Others scour the ground, digging with sharpened sticks for tubers hidden beneath the soil, the raw earth scent rising as they pry food from its grip. Every discovery is shared, every mouthful divided, and in that division lies their greatest strength. Yet even in this abundance, danger lingers. The injured youth collapses, fever burning his body, and the band gathers around him. A female presses chewed leaves onto his wound, instinctively harnessing the plant's bitter oils to fight infection. It is crude, uncertain, but it is care, and in that act of care the group finds meaning beyond mere survival. They are not just eaters of the land, they are keepers of one another. As evening falls, they gather again, the day's foraging laid in the center. Berries, figs, roots, the remnants of fish. They eat under the fading sun, their silhouettes merging with the shadows of the trees. The youngest stumble and play in the dust, their laughter wordless yet bright, carrying a sound that storms and predators could not silence. In this fragile joy lies the first spark of culture, a moment when survival transforms into story, when food becomes more than sustenance, it becomes bond. The savanna stretches endlessly before them, full of dangers they cannot yet imagine. Droughts, beasts larger than memory, rivals fiercer than themselves. Yet tonight, under a sky scattered with stars, they rest. Their bellies are not full, but their spirits are bound together. Tomorrow they will rise again to fight, to forage, to face death, and carve life from the teeth of the world. This was their survival diet, not a menu of choice, but a constant negotiation with nature, with predators, with rivals, and with the limits of their own fragile bodies. And in that struggle, in that endless chain of storms, roars, and fleeting meals, they were not just surviving, they were becoming. Their story is the root of ours, the echo that still beats in every meal we share, in every firelit gathering, in every fragile moment of care between one human and another.